traveller is the diamond spark, the soul. The traveller is the jewel between the eyes. The traveller is you. The satisfactions of the body distract the mind, like the glittered setting that holds the counterfeit gem. Profit and excess hide the path, like the velvet cloth covers the diamond. And the traveller goes in fear of thieves and robbers. The traveller, the diamond spark, the soul, stands alone. Therefore the wise traveller becomes the sage, only holding on to what is permanent.
The sage never claims to have a soul. What a traveller has can be stolen, or broken, or lost. The traveller is the soul. The soul is the traveller. The soul is you. Take this truth or not, the journey will happen anyway, and you will travel. This is not a choice. The only choice is how you travel. Consciousness is everything. Losing soul consciousness, the traveller carries the 1001 fears with all their names. These all are extra weight, unnecessary baggage. The road will seem longer, the journey more difficult. Remember who you are and travel light.
Remember who you are and travel light.
The wise traveller walks alone, for the path to the top of the mountain is narrow. There is room only for two, and the other is truth. Truth is the companion faithful through time, and so the wise traveller never fears solitude. And you are the traveller, unique and undivided, never absorbed. For the path may run alongside another for a while, a journey sometimes shared, but that the only companion permanent through time is truth. Like it or not, we stand alone, so we might as well like it. And the wise traveler keeps the Lord of Truth like a jewel in the heart, the guarantee that solitude is never empty.
And the Lord of Light gives you the 7 keys. The first is the jewel between the eyes. Without this key, no door will open. With it, the journey begins. The journey begun, the traveler chooses direction. Right direction brings light. One who journeys in the dark is beset by enemies. You do not need to bend time to find me. It is all easier than you have been told.
Simply change your consciousness. Know yourself.
Know yourself. You are the jewel between your own eyes. Know this and come. The sage is guided by what he feels and not by what he sees. Come and know me with your mind.
Minds travel faster than light. Without leaving home, the traveler conjures the past and imagines the future. The sage, careful of his destination, travels soundlessly to a dimension outside of time. Golden red light. Here, union happens. It is this that purifies.
It is here the traveler becomes the sage.
Father and child. Union
of silence. This is yoga.
You, the incorporeal, with your incorporeal Father. Relationship.
Just for a moment. Just where you are. Let your thoughts slip into silence. Be still.
Be still. am light, I am light. I am not the things my family did. I am not the voices in my head. I am not the pieces of the brokenness inside. I am light. 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 I'm not the mistakes that I have made, or any of the things that caused me pain. I am not the pieces of the dream I left behind. I am light. 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 I am not the color of my eyes. I am not the skin on the outside. I am not my age. I am not my race. My soul inside is all light. Oh, light. Oh, light. Yeah. Oh, light. I am light. I am light. I am light. I am light. Yeah. I am a star, a piece of it all. I am light.
Greetings of peace and good evening. I'm very pleased to welcome our esteemed speakers, Dr. Lai Fong, Dr. Florance Sinniah, Dr. B.K. Sashin, respected moderator, Dr. Saravanan, Professor Dr. G.P. Doraisamy, Dr. Lechmanan, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, to our public program and on Go M.A.D, M.A.D, in the new millennium via YouTube. I'm your host for today's program. My name is M.S. Kirubanandam, or in short, Kiruba. I'm a pharmacist by profession and also a meditation practitioner for the past 27 years. This public program is brought to you by a joint collaboration of two NGOs, Pertubuhan Kebajikan SNEHAM Malaysia, or in short known as SNEHAM, and Brahma Kumaris Malaysia. Ladies and gentlemen, whilst we are at the leisure of being connected via YouTube for this event, many others are working hard relentlessly to save lives and provide support to those who are affected by COVID-19. It's a very tough and demanding situation that they are going through. As our appreciation to them, please join me in sending our good wishes, pure feelings, and prayers to the frontliners, especially the medical frontliners, by observing a few moments of silence. Thank you very much. One of the organizers of this program, SNEHAM, of Persatuan Kebajikan SNEHAM Malaysia, has the objective to create public awareness on suicide prevention and provide counseling and emotional support to those who are depressed or are having suicidal thoughts or ideation. They are the first NGO who offer their service in 3 languages, namely Tamil, Bahasa Malaysia, and English. SNEHAM is a member of Befrienders Worldwide Network and IASP, which is in short, International Association of Suicide Prevention. Their toll-free helpline is 1-800-225757. And they offer 24-hour service. Well, ladies and gentlemen, during last year's MCO, a total of 266 people committed suicide from March 18 to October 31st. An average of 30 cases a month, or 1 every day. The number of suicidal cases is expected to increase during this currently imposed MCO. I'm very sure, and I definitely believe SNEHAM will play a special part in helping these people. The other organizer, the NGO, is the Brahma Kumaris, Malaysia. Let's view a short video about the Brahma Kumaris. that's a short video about the Brahma Kumaris Malaysia. Now, I would like to invite Dato Lechmanan, the President of Brahma Kumaris Malaysia and the Coordinator of Asia Retreat Center Malaysia, to deliver his opening speech. Over to you, Dato.
Om Shanti and greetings of peace. Ladies and gentlemen, as all of you know, we are having a lot of problems nowadays. I don't even have to mention what those problems are. The COVID today has shaken up the whole world. There's so much of fear, doubt, and uncertainty. Uncertainty in so many things. It's such an integrated problems. One linked to another and linked to another. And so really we are at a critical time. So in such a situations, how will people be able to feel easy about it? Surely they cannot. Who can be easy about it? It's only those who learn meditation. Not learn meditation, learned meditation. Because meditation gives you the power to look at a problem from a distance. Meditation enables you to keep you away from a problem. Meditation gives you the power not to own any problem, but be detached from the problem and look at the problem. And in that way, you will have the clarity to solve the problem. So therefore, at this time, we should make, as the theme says, that make a change, make a difference. Most times, when I ask people, hey, come and learn meditation, you're too busy lah. Actually, nobody is too busy. If you want to learn, you can just allocate the time and you can learn. But now with the shutdown, we have a lot of time. So all of us, we should learn meditation. And from meditation, you will get a lot of benefits. And most importantly, we will be able to increase our inner resilience, the strength of the soul, and in turn, the strength of the body. So which means that meditators will be able to, if they are good meditators, develop their own power, they will be able to increase their energy level so that any disease also, they can manage it. So it's such a power. So naturally, we should all learn meditation and get this power. So this evening, there's a great opportunity to listen to ideas from all the experts, and surely there's something very significant that you can pick up in your life so that you can be healthy and guide others also. I find that apart from all the procedures and what to do and what not to do, there is another soft aspect which we have to pay attention in everything in our life. That is the aspect of not to be careless, but to be attentive and do the needful to take care of health. So I know everything, but if I don't do it in a timely manner at the right time, then what is the worth of me knowing everything? So on that note, I thank all of you for your support and cooperation and for being with us this evening. And also many, many thanks for the resource persons for sharing your very valuable time so that we can serve our community. At this point, I also like to wish my good feelings and thanks to Professor Dr. Dato Doraisamy, who has helped us in many ways to enable us to organize this program and get more people to come to our program. So thank you so much. Om Shanti. Thank you.
Thank you, Dato. Dato Lechmanan is a retired First Director General of Department of Biosafety at Ministry of Natural Resources and Environment, Malaysia. The theme of this public program is Go Mad or M.A.D. in the New Millennium. What madness is this? The current millennium was expected to have Y2K bug or glitch that would affect the worldwide computer system, and the whole world was anxiously prepared months back ahead. However, the millennium commenced with very minor problems. Terrorism increased significantly during this millennium, with September 11, 2001 being a climax. A series of 4 coordinated terrorist attacks against the United States on the morning of Tuesday, September 11, 2001 shocked the whole world. The rest is history. Another interesting feature of the current millennium is the reign of coronaviruses. Although coronaviruses have been discovered in the mid-1960s, they were considered relatively mild until the outbreak of SARS in 2002. In 2012, the Middle East was afflicted by MERS, that is Middle East Respiratory Syndrome coronavirus. Of course, currently we are facing the pandemic of SARS-CoV-2 or coronavirus 2, or in short known as COVID-19. The pandemic initially painted an ambivalent picture, with medical frontliners were heralded as superheroes. They were known for their resilience, their sacrifice, and so on. The whole world was celebrating them, and the world was getting a little cleaner due to reduced pollution, I guess, despite the lockdown and some strict SOPs to prevent further spread. However, as time went by, stress and fear became prevalent due to economic and financial crisis. For some, it's a hopeless situation, and for some, it's a conspiracy. With all these quagmires, the pandemic has caused medical crisis, mental crisis, and financial crisis to many worldwide. So the simple question is, are we going to succumb or are we going to succor? I would like to succor. I would like to make a difference. And I'm sure we are in the same boat. We have invited experienced and established speakers today to help us in our journey towards the madness of sobriety and tranquility. Allow me to introduce our speakers. We have Dato Dr. Lai Fong with us. He is a consultant, child and adolescent psychiatrist who has been practicing medicine for 33 years. In recognition of his contribution towards developing mental health services in Penang, Dr. Lai was awarded 4 state honors by the government of Penang. In 2016, Dr. Lai, who has 2% sight, was named Toko OKU, that is Orang Kurang Upaya, Pulau Pinang in 2006 by the governor. Dr. Lai, would you like to say a few words to our audience?
Hello, everybody. It's nice to be here and share in this forum.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Lai. We also have Dr. Florance Sinniah as another speaker. Dr. Florance is the founder, president, volunteer of SNEHAM Malaysia, which is an NGO who is also organizing this program together with Brahma Kumaris. She is also in the board of director Penang Women Development Corporation, which is known as PWDC. She is also executive director of management of consultant, lecturer, facilitator of JAJ Tech Consultancy. She is also former human resource director at several multinational companies, diversity advocate for Talent Corp of Northern Region. Dr. Florance, would you mind saying a few words to our audience?
Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be invited to this wonderful forum. I'm looking forward to share something from my NGO, what we have seen for the past 1 year. And also I'm looking forward to hearing from the other speakers. I'm sure it's going to be an interesting forum for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Florance. And the third speaker is Dr. B.K. Sashin. He's a foreign guest speaker from all the way from India. He's a consultant physician and intensivist since 10th October 2010 at J.W. Watumal Global Hospital and Research Center, Mount Abu, India. This word intensivist is kind of a mouthful for me. Anyway, he has worked as intensivist in ICU and ICCU in ESMG Hospital from 20th October 2007 till 20th April 2010, worked as clinical assistant in ICU in PD Hinduja Hospital in Mumbai from 10th April to 2010. And he is also MD at Alternative Medicine with Indian Institute of Alternative Medicine as well. So he's a very, very experienced person. So Dr. Sashin, would you like to say a few words to our audience?
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Greetings from Mount Abu, which is the headquarters of Brahma Kumaris. And I'm very glad that this evening we are all together and we are about to discuss a very important thing, which has, as Brother Kiruba said, shaken the whole world. So I hope to have a very meaningful, very significant discussion and very nice chat with all of you this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sachin. I'm very, very excited to listen from them actually, because all of them are really committed and very well established in their field. Now we have come to the heart of the program. Who else can do a better job of a moderator if not a heart specialist? Dr. Saravanan Krishnan is an interventional cardiologist. Again, a mouthful, but it's nice word, interventional cardiologist, and electrophysiologist attached currently to Department of Cardiology, Hospital Sultan Bahia, Alostar. He has served various hospitals throughout Malaysia, in particular northern region of Peninsular Malaysia. He is well known for treating electrical problems. Guys, he's not working for TNB, okay? This kind of electrical problems are low voltage, very low voltage electrical of our body, yeah, for treating electrical problem related to heart disease in the region. He is also the head of cardiology unit in HSB Alostar and involved in training doctors. So, Dr. Saravanan, you can set the pace and rhythm of this session. Over to you, Dr. Saravanan.
Thank you very much for that kind introduction, Brother Kiruba. I'm very glad and excited actually to moderate this session. I'm the moderator of this session. And welcome to all the speakers once again. And just before we start, let me give you a story. Here it goes. Sinniah once observed when he placed two identical lamps in two separate cages, and to add a bit of fear into one of the lamps, he placed a wolf in a cage just beside one of the lamps. So he observed that over a period of months, the lamb that was facing the wolf, though in a separate cage, had a lot of fear and found to subsequently living in fear caused its death, whereas the other lamb survived because it was not able to see the wolf in that cage. So he concluded that living in fear is not good, not only for animals, but also for humans like us. And more so, especially in this kind of pandemic area. So I believe that we should all take this opportunity to learn the lessons or understand the nature of the problems or consequences posed by the COVID-19 pandemic, and subsequently not only keep them to ourselves, but pass it on to many others who may benefit from these lessons learned here. So as the theme for this forum goes, go mad in the new millennium with the new norms. Mad is not the real madness, but make a difference. And with the goodies that we have as called as dictated by the new norms, as we follow not only the standard operating procedures as mentioned by the healthcare workers, soft skills like mentioned by our Brahma Kumaris president, also is important to add on the qualities to face this epidemic or pandemic. So let's move on to discuss further with our expert speakers today. First, I would like to address the question to Dr. Lai, well-known psychiatrist in the region. Dato, so COVID-19 pandemic has emerged to cause many consequences, unprecedented consequences, both to physical and mental health. And there is a need for psychological support that is increasing. One of the main issues that the public face is stress. So can you discuss about this in terms of the nature of the stress itself, and maybe later we can address how to face it?
Yes, Dr. Saravanan. Maybe because before I go into the answering the question, I just want to thank Dr. Saravanan because he actually treated my wife's auntie for atrial fibrillation, and she's now very well, and she's very grateful to Dr. Saravanan. So thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay, back to the question of COVID and stress. I like to refer to you to a health psychologist from US. Her name is Kelly McGonigal. You can get her on YouTube. McGonigal is spelled McGonigal. One interesting thing she found from other people's research is actually stress doesn't kill you. It is when we start thinking that stress is bad for you, that kills us. All right. If we think that stress is good for us, it actually doesn't harm us. It is only when we think that stress is bad for us that it harms us. So how can we apply this to our current COVID situation? Our previous speakers shared, that there's most of us will look at COVID and say there's nothing good about it, which is very true. It has caused a lot of havoc, loss of job, people are sick, and a lot of people have died. So it has brought in a lot of bad things. But for our own mental health, we need to also ask ourselves, what good has this pandemic brought? If we can find some good in our answer, that can help us in our mental health. That can help us in handling the stress of the pandemic. So you may come across newspaper cuttings or someone who shared that, oh, since the pandemic, our family has become closer. You know, the members of the family doesn't go in their different directions. They all stay at home, so we get to talk. So that is one good thing. I get to do the things I like to do, or I get to read the books I like to read. Before this, I didn't have time to read. So if we can find something good that comes out from a stressful situation, that will help our mental health. Kelly McGonigal also wrote a book called The Upside of Stress. When we are stressed, actually our body helps us to face challenges. When we are stressed, our heart beats faster so that it brings more oxygen to the brain. it prepares our body for challenges. So stress is not all bad, okay? So if we can see stress as something that helps us, that will be good for us. That is one thing, yeah.
So I take 2 points from there. I think it's a good point that you highlighted, Dato. So one is, the thinking pattern that kills rather than stress itself,
yes.
Right? So I think that's an important message that we should remember, because once you learn how to break that kind of thinking pattern, I think that's going to be the remedy or the recipe for one to avoid getting more stress.
Yes.
And the other thing is that, coping mechanism naturally is already existent in our body. So one need to understand this and do not just run out of control when you face such stressful situations. So the stress that we face at the moment is very, very different compared to, when we didn't have the pandemic. So, for example, there are families who face problems, issues when they are called for testing because someone else in the family or close contact is diagnosed to have COVID-19. So how do you see that this issue can be sort of like addressed, or what are your takes on this?
How to cope with like friends having COVID? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, so the stress that is existent now is a bit different compared to the natural stress. You see, before the pandemic, we have patients comes to us seeking consultation for stress, which is of different nature.
Yes.
It's of it's whether it's a issue with the relationship, or a disease being diagnosed, or is sort of like being very different compared to at the moment where the stress is kind of like more diffuse, because it's not only related to the disease itself, but looking at it, looks like, even when they hear that there is COVID diagnosed in the neighborhood, there is a kind of like fear, stress. So the nature of this kind of stress seems to be a bit more diluted and more diffuse. Do you agree?
Yes.
That how do you see this from your point of view?
Yeah. Those of you who likes mathematics, there is actually an equation for stress. It's actually anxiety or stressful feelings is proportional to the dangerousness of the event multiplied by the probability of the event and divided by our ability to cope, plus external assistance. So it's a handful. It's a mathematical equation. So how stressful we feel or how anxious we feel is proportional to how dangerous we view the event. So for COVID, it's actually quite dangerous, right? We have heard of people dying, even in ICU, they cannot save them. So the dangerousness there is quite high. So when the danger is high, it is normal for us to feel more anxious. And times of probability, what is the probability of getting this? And we just read about variants where it's so contagious. One person can spread to 20 people or something. So both probability and dangerousness is so high, no wonder we are all so stressed up. But if we can increase our ability to cope, like keeping ourselves at home when we can, wearing our face mask, keeping social distance, using hand sanitizer, those are ability to cope. And external assistance. If we still have beds in the hospital that can take us in when we are really sick, then when we are not that worried compared to other places where there ICU beds are all full and there's no more help. So this is one way to help ourselves to see objectively what is the real danger, what is the real probability, and then increasing our ability to cope and preparing for external assistance. So yeah, so understanding our own feelings helps, and following the guidelines helps to make ourselves more secure and less worried.
So the current pandemic widely demands assistance from the non-government organizations like SNEHAM, as we heard, the role play of SNEHAM in the society for social support and also to address the consequences that arise due to COVID-19. The question to Dr. Florance, can you elaborate further on the issues and likely opportunities to help the public? How do you see the current pandemic as a possible threat to the public in terms of the fear or the anxiety, the depression that it leads to? And we even heard that there was a patient who was diagnosed yesterday. It came out in the newspaper today that the patient actually is 65 years old and been diagnosed to have COVID positive, and subsequently he has actually sort of like voiced out his intention for suicidal rather than surviving COVID. So, Dato, can you elaborate a bit on this issue? That I believe that the weight of this problem is not small, but it's going to be more and more, especially in the during the pandemic as well as the post-pandemic period.
Okay. So can you hear me, Dr. Sarah?
Yes.
Yeah. Very good evening, Dr. Sarah, and also a good evening to all our esteemed speakers and everyone who's joined this forum today worldwide. And I think everyone has spoken about what the current COVID pandemic, the threat is far from over, and what we have seen, right? Till today, governments across the globe are actually operating in a context of uncertainty. I think the focus is more on crisis management and coming out with policy responses to contain the spread. This is what we have been seeing. And many of us are very familiar with some of the instructions we have to follow, like stay home, social distancing and physical distancing, wearing of mask, good hygiene, sanitizing, and of course, a lot of SOPs with regards to how we engage in business activities and social activities. But one of the things that not many countries have formulated strategies to handle a much larger impact of the pandemic on the psychosocial and mental well-being of the people, right? This one, I have been actually, Googling and researching out to find out what other countries are doing, but apparently there's more written on, containing the disease rather than, looking at the larger impact of this issue, let alone manage the post-traumatic stress disorder now and in generation to come. And as everyone has spoken about fear, right? So today, irrespective of the social status, everybody is impacted by what I call as corona phobia, right? And any phobia over an extended period of time does affect the mind and bodily functions. So we've heard about, like you mentioned, a case of someone who was diagnosed with, corona, and he's opting to take his life rather than die of the illness. So people are overwhelmed by fear of the infection, fear of the stigma that so and so is being infected, and also the other psychosocial issues like anxiety, loneliness, and being burdened by economic, impact to their life, like job loss, and also a lot of other things. Now, with all these going on, it's actually it's threatening for people to stay strong. So forum like this is very timely. See, we all can tell everybody to stay strong, stay safe. But with everything going on, it is kind of a challenge for people to stay strong. And when the pandemic was first heard, it was 2019. Now we are in 2021. So while the calendar has changed, nothing has changed so much, and might even get even worse. So we all are in a situation to actively take an interest and acknowledge the consequences, and take charge of the situation individually and collectively. What is the difference we all can make individually and collectively, to survive this pandemic? Now, to go back to your questions on the consequences that arise from the pandemic, and what NGOs like us can do to help the public. To answer that, let me briefly share about what we do at SNEHAM. I know that was a beautiful introduction about SNEHAM by Mr. Kiruba, our host. We are a non-profit organization aimed at prevention of suicide, and we actually, achieve that. To achieve that goal, we have come up with a three-pronged strategy. One is telecounseling services, which is basically a toll-free helpline for people to reach us if they are, emotionally overwhelmed by a problem, to speak to someone. And the second one, what we do is advocacy. We actively promote awareness of the importance of mental health, coping skills, and also, share about suicide and suicide prevention. And the third strategy, of course, we do is this is a huge task ahead, suicide prevention. So we actually collaborate with government agencies and other NGOs on projects, programs on psychosocial issues. So to many people, the word suicide has a negative connotation, right? There's a stigma associated with the word suicide, and many people avoid talking about the subject, or even sometimes dismissive that this is a decision made by people who are, on impulse, or driven by emotion. They are weak, or they are selfish, they are inconsiderate. But with our healthcare professionals on the call, we know that suicide is a much complex and complicated issue than that. So 90% of those people who take their life suffer from underlying mental health issues, right? So most of the suicide survivors, when we talk to them, or when they are being asked, and they mostly will tell that I don't want to die. Actually, I want my pain to stop, my emotional pain to stop. So, that's a little bit about, situation of the suicide. And, talk about how we have responded is when we locked down and movement restriction was announced, SNEHAM immediately turned on the operations from 4 hours to 24 hours daily to stay connected to the people, knowing that this is the time they need our services. It's a much needed services during the time of the lockdown. So we extended telecounseling services for people, those undergoing any personal emotional issues, to talk to us. And generally, before COVID, people usually call us and talk about, relationship problems, sometimes pressure at work, or other issues related to economic hardships, financial issues. Sometimes it's the individual's lack of self-esteem. So these are some issues people used to talk to us, including some people who had clinical mental health issues. Now, during the pandemic, so over the period of a year and now into the first month of Jan, we have recorded what I classify them as some vulnerable groups, which is when we receive calls, I've seen, talking to them, we know that these are people who have underlying mental health issues, and they form 48% of our callers. And the other vulnerable group that reach our helplines are women, followed by elderly, some with disabilities, young adults who are actually struggling with the economic issues. And of course, they are also those terminally ill, neglected. They call us to speak to us. So basically, from the concerns they shared with us, it's it come out from an inability to deal with the pandemic. It's like what Dr. Lai said. If you are stressed, there are two ways of looking at it. Stress can be positive and negative. But here, We have callers who are stressed by what's happening and their inability to deal with it, anxiety, fear. Of course, the other things on social, physical distancing, being trapped at home does affect them. And as I mentioned earlier, we receive a lot of calls. Women, some are trapped in violent households where they are being abused physically, sexually. The younger people are actually are being burdened by anxieties of life, such as, will I have a job to go back to, and what about my commitments, will I be able to pay my bills, and in all of those issues. And of course they do share with inability to sleep when they are being deeply troubled. So their quality of sleep is affected, and it is also affecting their ability to eat well as well. So the think about our services, because of the confidential nature of our services, and we are also keeping a record, though we assure confidentiality and anonymity. We do classify the types of cases, the gender, ethnicity. So looking at all of that, it actually provides us an insight to look at the mental health situation of the community. So when we are able to actually gain an insight of what are these people telling us, it does provide us an opportunity to narrow in and address some issues. And for example, that's how we were actively addressing three top issues. Of course, there are many. One of that is we actually partnered with the Penang state government and another NGO, WCC, in promoting awareness to seek help if women, children, elderly are being abused at home, either physical abuse or sexual abuse, to reach us for help if they are in that situation. We did a lot of work around that, promoting, coming up with materials to encourage people to reach us. The other thing about that mental health mentors wanted to stress people. We actually leverage the online tools, social media, to organize webinars, forums, created a lot of V-clips promoting awareness on the impact of COVID-19 on individuals' mental health, and how to cope with that situation. So, and also the other thing I have to say here is that when there were like situations when we were reached by the media, we took that opportunity to sensitize them, not to sensationalize suicides, whether it's directly or indirectly associated with the pandemic, and stress the importance of talking to someone when an individual is overwhelmed by emotions. Either seek medical help, talk to someone, or call our helplines or any helplines that's available in the country. So basically, when people are overwhelmed, they lose the capacity to think rationally, and sometimes how to handle the situation. So we encourage, speak to somebody. And this is where all of us can make a difference by being there for somebody.
Thank you for that extensive elaboration. So just, it's totally a different scenario now, because if you look at, before we have, one has the access to a helpline that you can call anytime and even present physically to attend to the consultations or counseling sessions. But now it looks like, to even turn to another person or even in the neighborhood, it's going to be difficult because it's the lockdown and, so how do you think some of the efforts that we can make in order to reach? So reachability now is an issue. So what can we do in order to reach to lend a support to those who really need? So you classified those groups, or you identified those who have a trait of high risk.
Yeah. We understand the situation of being away from our loved ones, but we can connect like what we are doing today. We are not able to physically be present, but we are connecting virtually. So we use, I would encourage anyone to use virtual platforms, to connect with the loved ones, or even pick up the phone and check on friends, family, how they are doing, and attend any help that's being offered, like virtual forums like this to take away some help that can make a difference in their life. For example, we're going to be talking about I think the importance of meditation. It's one of the coping skills. As I mentioned earlier, talking is a therapy. Talking to somebody helps an individual to get clarity with regards to their situation. There are other coping skills, and how do they reach out to those coping skills is by signing up for programs, talks like this, and it might help them. And actually, there are like 4 strategies that normally that I use and do take my callers through. I can share that, which is I call it the 4 strategies of reaction, resilience, recovery, and the reality. So reaction, we all today, you know, are actually facing this unprecedented threat, right? But before that, we all have been through disasters, traumatic events, but we're able to actually, overcome that and move on in our life. But why is this COVID pandemic so difficult for certain individuals? And we all know that it is very pervasive. It is a huge loss of life, very disruptive to our day-to-day activities. So because this is the first time, and the period it has extended, so everyone is so it's very new to people. But nevertheless, if you're feeling lost, if you're feeling frustrated, and if you're feeling confused, it's time that we acknowledge those feelings and validate, why am I feeling this way? Why am I feeling frustrated? Why am I aging? So and these feelings are not abnormal feelings. Once we experience, we acknowledge, I'm feeling this way because of this. Once we recognize these feelings, we can do something about it. That's number 1, reaction. So any situation, you would react, but recognize the feelings associated with the reaction. The other one is resilience. Of course, resilience can help us through overcome any hardships in life. So weighing the negative outcome and the positive outcomes using all our skills, right? The negative outcomes, of course, you mentioned that, Dr. Sarah, that we can't see each other, social distancing, stay home, working from home, school closures, parents have to work from home and also manage the children. These are all of the negative outcomes. There are also positive outcomes. As Dr. Lai mentioned about families are getting closer today. Also the other, in terms of financial issues, there are moratoriums being announced, delayed payments of loans. So look at all the positive outcomes and see if you can move the fulcrum towards, the positive, using all our core skills about planning, navigating through the challenges, sharing responsibility, cutting down on a lot of times that we're wasting. So learn how to build the resilience. We know that resilience is not inborn. We built it, we develop it over a period of time with time and experience. So resilience is critical. The other piece is, of course, recovery, right? Here, I do want to share about recovery in the sense that never underestimate the time that we need to spend ourselves. So, we need to take time to take care of ourselves. Once we take care of ourselves, we can take care of our family, children, friends, the community. So self-care is very important. And of course, when you take self-care, I do want to say that, people need to eat well, sleep well, cut down on all the screen time, using computers, social media, especially media which has got news about fear, cut down on all that and acknowledge the new reality we are in. So this might help us in terms of how to navigate through the challenges we are currently facing.
Thank you, Dato. Dr. Sachin, as we are going through the different phases, different waves of COVID-19 pandemic, we have learned some things about the pandemic, the virus, and the nature of the disease in terms of not only science, but also about the pandemic itself, the crisis itself, that, how it can affect one. So I'm sure that you have, as a intensivist, as well as a spiritualist, So that gives you an additional bonus in your practice to have a unique prescription for your patients, or even public who seek consultation from you. So can you tell us how you have been during this, your practice has been during this COVID-19? And is there anything that in your remedy, uh, uh, a recipe that can, sort of like address the body, mind, soul practice kind of a medicine?
Well, good evening, everyone. That's a very good question. And I was just thinking, if suppose the whole world sends a request to God, one of the requests would be to reboot 2020 because it had virus. So
Totally agree.
this virus, this COVID-19 has taught us very, very important lessons of life. And I would like to say, if suppose somebody announces Best Teacher Award, I will say the Best Teacher Award goes to COVID-19 because it has taught us so many things which we had not learned from other things of life. So what was the most important lesson which I think we have learned is that the whole humanity sails in the same boat. This pandemic has taught us the importance of freedom. We have learned what happens when we remain restricted to one place. So how is life when we are free? So one of the thing is about freedom. Other thing is, uh, it is said that never waste a crisis. You must learn something from it. So this crisis, everything begin with unknown things like uncertainties. Nobody had thought that 2020 would begin with such a lockdown, such a shutdown of the whole world. So many people must have planned so many things of their lives, but everything turned out in a very different manner. So, looking back, what are the lessons? The first thing which I feel is that we should have warlike preparation on the healthcare front. Whenever any pandemic strikes, so we should be totally prepared. And this pandemic has taught the world that world was not really prepared for it. If you look at all the aspects of it, social aspect, economic aspect, financial aspects, medical aspects, everything, if you see, our preparation should be much better than what it was. So that is the first thing, that we need to upgrade, we need to increase our preparation for it. Second thing is, we need to set early warning some system where there is a early warning, things are noted very fast, so that any such events, not just disease, but anything happens, we should be informed, we should get alarm before only such a thing happens. Other thing is that this pandemic has taught us a very important lesson of life, that we really do not live so much to live. If you see the whole of the shutdown, the lockdown period, everybody was in his home, everybody was getting, and our internal desires, our material goals, everything, we came to a conclusion that we do not require that much to live as we were wanting to live. Other thing is, we have really come face to face with some basic questions of life. What are those questions? What are we here for? What is the goal of life? What are we doing here? And it has taught us uncertainty of everything. As I said, somebody must have planned to go abroad, somebody must have planned his marriage, somebody must have planned so many things were planned into 2020, but things turned out to be very different. So this is a very important lesson, that we need to reflect, we need to go back, we need to introspect and retrospect ourselves and try to stop, reflect, cogitate, contemplate, think, what am I here for? What is the goal of life? And when everything is so uncertain, what I really need to do in life? So this is another thing which we have come face to face with life. And another thing I remember, William Shakespeare has, one of the characters of Shakespeare, Hamlet, has said, there are many things in heaven and hell, Horatio, than are dreamt of in your philosophy. So with whatever we have achieved in science, whatever we have achieved in life, there are still many things which are beyond us, which we have yet not understood. And our scientific claims, our knowledge of medicines, our knowledge of in the field of any other human field is really short of something. There is a higher power. There is, we are not, we cannot say that we are the master of destiny at this point, because there are few things in life which are beyond us. And this pandemic has really taught us that. Yes, we need to humble ourselves, to look within, to think what are the things we need to understand more about life. Okay, so this is one thing. Another thing, a very good thing this COVID-19 has done, and Dr. Florance also said, uh, we were living much beyond the planet's boundaries. You know, how was, I am right now in Mount Abu, and there were no tourists here. This is a tourist place. And those periods of lockdown, there was no tourist here, and the air had become purified. The lakes and the fresh air in the atmosphere, the mountains, and everywhere the whole atmosphere had changed. Actually, it shows to us that how much we had polluted this world. So one of the important things this pandemic has taught us is social distancing. So social distancing is not something which is to be observed only during pandemic. I think it should become a norm of life. It should become a basic rule of life. And another important thing is cleanliness. You know, in India, there is a Swachhata Abhiyan, cleanliness drive. So somehow we had polluted the atmosphere, somehow we had polluted the environment. So this pandemic has taught us these two very important things: social distancing, physical distancing, and another is cleanliness drive. And few other things which are coming to my mind are like how this whole world is connected by air, or the whole community is one thing actually, and society as a heart. You know, during pandemic we have seen how people were at home and how they were serving the elderly. Otherwise they don't take care of them, otherwise they don't even think of them. But during the pandemic, as if the whole world had become one, and you must have seen how the people are coming out. So many NGOs are coming out helping the world and trying to give them so many things. So this is a really a good side of this pandemic, that we had come together. And in India, you must have seen some many times there were lighting of lamps, and there were dance and celebration in the veranda, and so many other things like that. So this is a very, very important thing. And as Dr. Lev was also saying, uh, the inside anxiety and the inside fear and the inside, all this also came out. So we have got to understand our own real nature, how much inside we are fearful, what is our real, what is our connectivity, and who is the supreme power in this world, and can we go back to that supreme power, can we reconnect to that supreme power. So these are so many things this pandemic has taught us. And as you asked me, what would be my recipe, as we were discussing about meditation, yes, definitely, to become still, to make the mind calm. And such a upheaval when that is going on, how much calm we should be at mind, in our mind, because it is the fear that is killing people more. I would like to just tell you a short story. A sage was meditating, and the shadow was going by, and the sage asked, who are you? The shadow said, I am plague. What are you going to do? The shadow said, I am going to kill 500 people in this village. Okay, the shadow went away. After 1 month, the shadow came back. So the sage said, you told that you are going to kill 500 people, but you killed 1,000. The plague said, the shadow said, I killed only 500. The rest died of fear. So it is the fear of it. So somewhere the fear is hidden in the subconscious mind. So definitely this lockdown and this pandemic has taught us to stop, to reflect, to go within, to introspect, to retrospect, to spend every day some moment in silence, to create vibrations of peace, purity, and happiness, and also purify the environment, the nature, and help our fellow beings. As I said, society has got a heart, and everybody is connected together. So that, I think, is the lesson we have learned from COVID-19.
So in other words, it is God made yoga or union.
Yeah.
So just to ask you a bit more, what would be the ideal situation? You mentioned that we are still sort of like a lot of insufficiency or weakness that need to be addressed to face this kind of pandemic. So,
Yeah.
what do you think we are discussing on the platform of this body, mind, spirit, spiritual medicine? So, what do you think sort of like qualities that, let's say, we adopt it and make a go with it, can make a difference
Yeah.
in facing this kind of problems in the future?
One thing I would like to add, as I said, we have somehow directly, indirectly, everybody has developed that quality of compassion, of love for our fellow beings. As it is said that human being, mankind is made in the image of God. So this pandemic has really taught us that every human being is worthy of our respect. So I feel that to respect everyone, to have that feeling of thankfulness to everybody, because here in Mount Abu, in the Sirohi district, from March till now, we have seen a lot of COVID patients, and there was a surge and ups and downs. And whenever a person becomes positive, so what things happens to him? He feels as if he is isolated, as if he is thrown away by the society. So that is the period when he should be given love. That is the period he should be given that respect. That is the period he should be given support, moral support. So that helps him a lot to increase his internal spiritual stamina. So what I feel is, uh, first I will come on the physical ground. Uh, for the preparedness of COVID, we need to identify at-risk populations. So whosoever is elderly with comorbidities and children, so these are the group of people, pregnant people, those are the group of people, they need to be identified. And then special care and special attention should be given to these people. That will be a part of preparedness. Coming to the mental well-being of a person, we need to help them not to enter into the stage of depression, anxiety, fear, because these are the things which are killing people more rather than the disease itself. Because the entire morale of the patient goes down whenever patient is found positive. I'll give you one example. There was one patient who came positive. So his primary contacts were all advised to give the testing, and they gave test. They did not have any symptom. So one of the persons, and he was having his breakfast in the morning, and he received a call that you have been tested positive. So this person has no symptoms, he has no complaints, but the moment he heard that I am positive, then he started having fever. The moment he heard that I am positive, he started trembling, he could not even walk. So everything, he started developing all the symptoms. So from all this, where it has come from? So it is all something which is psychological. So what are the qualities, as you asked? So we need to first of all strengthen, fortify the mental being of the person. So for that, we need to give them love, patience, understanding, and so many myths are there throughout the this pandemic. We had come up with so many social media coming up every day with something or other new thing about COVID. So there were a lot of things which were, like, I would say, misunderstandings about it. There were some people who were standing at the airport with the cow's urine, so that all those passengers who are coming, they should be first washed their face with cow's urine, so that they should get disinfected. So many things. Somebody had like some this hen. Somebody had brought a hen. I know. I remember one patient was admitted in the ICU, and the relatives all came to me and said, "Doctor, please give us 5 minutes. This is a hen we have brought from our village. We want to move around the patient, and patient is on ventilator." So now so much ignorance and so many misunderstandings are there in the people. So we need to work on increasing their knowledge, their in imparting wisdom, And a lot of such seminars should be conducted at the local level, at the international level, everywhere, so that people are educated. And actually, every government is already doing that. But really, some qualities we should have internally within us, so that we can use them, so that all those qualities are depicted in our behavior. And this fear, this phobia, as doctor said, corona phobia or corona effect, that would be gradually washed off, and we will enter into the new arena where people would live a healthy, spiritually uplifting life.
Yeah. As the situation becomes a bit more uncontrolled and go out of expectation, due to economic downturn and many other psychosocial implications arise. And during this time, was two other speakers here also shared, we see that a lot of many consequences or unnecessary fear may arise in the public. How can we help the patients to cope with the stress? How can we prevent it? Can you prevent it? This question I address it to Dr. Lai.
Yeah. I like to refer you to another person who you may be interested to go and listen to. This is Henry Nowen. Henry Nowen wrote a book called The Wounded Healer. And actually, what the doctor from India shared, I agree a lot with what he said. Actually, COVID gave us a time to stop and think and reflect about our life and God and meaning of life, which is great. So what Henry Nowen said is, in times of stress, it's important that we don't tie our identity to three things. Okay, he said we are not what we have, we are not what we do, and we are not what other people say we are. Okay, we are not what we have, we are not what we do, we are not what other people say we are. Why is this important during COVID? During COVID, people lose their jobs. So it is what we do. So are we what we do? If we link our identity with what we do, and if we lose our job, then we are nobody. So a lot of people, after they lose their job, they commit suicide because their identity is no more. So we shouldn't link our identity to what we do. Okay. The second thing is, don't link our identity to what we have. Does our identity depend on how many houses we have, or how many cars we have, or how much money we have in the bank? During the COVID period, there's recession, we lose money, houses have no value. So if we link our identity to these things, then we can also commit suicide. Okay. And lastly, we are not what other people say we are. So don't link our identity to glamour, to people praising us. During COVID, nobody is there to see us, and if we are in the entertainment industry, many will be very depressed because nobody comes to watch them sing and act. So if our identity is linked to that, also we will think of suicide. So don't link our identity to what we do, what we have, or what other people say we are. Like the doctor from India says, we are made in the image of God. Okay, I like this speaker, Ravi Zacharias. He says we are the imago Dei. We are God's image. So our identity don't have to be linked to things, don't have to be linked to work, don't have to be linked to what people say. We are a value in ourselves. We have innate value. We are God's image. So that is a good prevention. Even if we lose many things, we are still okay. You know, we still are we ourselves, the identity doesn't get lost. So that is a good prevention.
Maybe I address the next question because I think we are running out of time. So Dr. Sachin, just to the special tribute to the frontliners. What would you reckon to the frontliners in healthcare, in particular in handling the current situation? Any tips for them?
Yeah. Actually, if you look at the healthcare workers, there is an increasing rate of suicide among healthcare workers. I was recently reading WHO, one article where it said that healthcare worker in this COVID pandemic, every 1 out of 4 was having depression and anxiety, and every 1 out of 3 was having insomnia. So why this situation? Because working in a healthcare setup and in the pandemic situation, it's not an easy job. I myself have been working from last so many months. So every moment I have been like this, as my colleagues and all over the world, my co-intensivists who are working in critical care ICU, in COVID ICUs, what they shared with me, the thing is that there is a constant fear in the mind. There is a constant fear in the mind that don't know which day we will get infected, which day we will become COVID positive, and then suddenly we will get isolated. So many fears, apprehension is there, and there is a sort of depression within for some unknown reasons. What will happen to my family? What will happen to my children? So not just doctors, look at the nurses, the staff, everybody. So and the number, if you look at the population of healthcare, it is about 2 to 3% of the total population healthcare, but still the figure that has come to WHO is about 14% of the healthcare were COVID positive, and in some places 34% of the healthcare worker. So you can imagine now from where they got COVID, whether in the hospital setup or in the community. That's a difficult thing to come to a conclusion. But definitely, the most important thing in healthcare setup is to help healthcare workers on their mental psychological health, because as I said, there is a constant fear within the mind. Also, if you look at their timing of working, their pay, so there is a lot of apprehension about that. So long hours of working and the working conditions, and what are the other things which they are receiving in terms of facilities and all. So many things are there. So what I feel is that, and also there is always public violence. So as WHO says, there should be zero tolerance for that from the patients. Sometimes a lot of on the basis of caste, creed, and so many things all over the world. So this healthcare workers are always at risk of all this. So what I feel is uh, every healthcare worker should be first at the government level, at the national, international level, should be given this protection, uh, physical protection also, and then all the physical amenities, and the working conditions should be improved. If suppose somebody is working for 7 days continuously, there is a norm that he should go for next 14 days or 7 days. He should be given rest. He should be given holidays. So all these things do matter a lot. So again, another thing is meditation. That's the most important thing, because the situations are very stressful and we do not know when this situation is going to assuage. So every moment is a moment of upheaval, and the most important thing what we can do is to stop, to think, to reflect, to go within and spend some time of the day alone in silence, in solitude, and to be in touch with our own spirit, our own soul, and to enter into that sacred space which is within us. So that is the only space which is most safe in the world, which is within us. So spend every day in silence, in solitude, in meditation, and how to improve the communication, how to improve the interpersonal relationships on the work field is also a very important thing in this stress management. So there should be some workshops, there should be some seminars where meditation seminars or relationship improvement seminar or job stress management seminar, and such things. People should be educated about that. And also, I would like to add regarding the vaccination thing, which is now in our global hospital. From Monday, we are starting vaccination here. Already the vaccination has been started at Abu Road. So from Monday, it's getting to start from here in global hospital here. So there are a lot of doubts, anxieties in the people about vaccination, and more so also in the healthcare workers. There are so many healthcare workers, staff, and all this. These are unwilling for that. So a lot of education on the medical field should be given. Also, preparedness should be at the mental, physical, social, all levels. They should be financially well equipped, and all these things do matter in the management of healthcare workers.
Thank you, Dr. So I'm sure that all the audience listening to our discussion today agree that we had a wonderful discussion, and we have gone through the crucial, critical issues that is being faced by the public as well as the frontliners, healthcare workers during the COVID pandemic. So because of the time limitation, we will not be able to pursue further. We'll stop here and we will not be able to take up questions as well. But I would like to special thanks all the expert speakers here for joining today and highlighting the importance of identifying the stressors, the coping mechanism, and helping lines that is available for us to use in case we are faced with the problems. And of course, with Dr. Sachin's special the kind of like prayers to reflect, to go into your inner self and identify, the possible connect to the relevant and appropriate information, rather than being panicky and creating unnecessary fear and being anxious. This is probably the behavior that we should avoid in order to face the pandemic in a better way. So that, thank you very much, and I hand it back to Brother Kiruba for further. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Saravanan. That was really, really well moderated session, and really, really beneficial to all the audience. I think we have heard enough, and definitely we have been enjoying this sharing by all our esteemed speakers. So we also thank them from our heart. And we have heard enough, as I said earlier, but we do need to retreat into some space of silence to process this, to assimilate this, and to digest it, so that all this information that has been shared with us will definitely be practically useful, not only to ourselves, but also to others. So I would like to take you into a silent retreat or silent journey or silent reflection. And to do that silent reflection, I would like to invite Dr. Sachin to take us into this silent reflection and to feel the innate value and the inner strength, the inner stamina of the self. Over to you, Dr. Sachin.
So I request all of you who are listening, who are seeing this session, to just sit alert, just relax totally, and let's move into an internal journey, totally silent. If you want, you can close your eyes. I take a few moments of silence to go within myself. Who am I? What am I doing? Let me stop, reflect, and go within myself. There is a deep silence within me. Let me touch my inner core. I am a peaceful being. I am a loveful being. My whole body is filled with divine light. My mind has become calm and tranquil. In this deep stage of silence, I send out vibrations of pure love and peace to the whole world. I am a point of light, situated in the middle of the forehead, a lamp, a luminous being, a radiant star. The whole world is receiving vibes of pure love from me. Every mind is getting silent, loveful and peaceful. May all be happy. May all be healthy. May all be joyous. My whole body is vibrating with divine light, and that light is reaching the whole world. Om Shanti.
Thank you, Dr. Sachin. That's really a wonderful meditation or silent reflection session. And we would like to thank all of those who have worked hard for this session, who have really extended their heart, their soul, and the energy to this program, especially our esteemed speakers, our moderators, as well as our internal supporters who have come in between every now and then, have given us a lot of support. And to thank all of them, I would like to invite Mr. Perumalu Kandan to do the closing remark and to thank all of them. And Mr. Perumalu Kandan is the treasurer of Brahma Kumaris Malaysia, and he is also the assistant coordinator of Brahma Kumaris Malaysia. Over to you, Mr. Perumalu.
Thank you, Brother Kiruba. Greetings of peace and Om Shanti. I would like to start this closing remarks by thanking Dato Lakshmana Ramada, the president of the Brahma Kumaris, for a wonderful opening speech, which helped us to understand the activities of the Brahma Kumaris, how they go about helping the communities. And he did touch a little bit on meditations. Thank you, Mr. President. And of course, we have three eloquent speakers, Dato Dr. Florance Sinniah from the SNEHAM. Thank you for your time, Dato. It is nice to have you on board. We have learned a lot, and at least we understood what the SNEHAM is doing for now. No? And I'm sure it will be a good publicity and can reach out to more. The people need it actually, and nice to have you around. Thank you. And we have Dr. Lai, Dr. Lai Fong, 33 years of medical practice as a consultant, child and adolescent psychiatrist. Good insight. You seem to be a good reader, Dato. You highlighted a few books also. What I can remember most is that identity, no? Not to have the false identity and have the right identity, and that helps us to overcome stress. The emphasis on stress for you. Thank you. I appreciate your presence, sir. It is very nice to have you around. Dr. B.K. Sashin. He's not new to us. He's from the Global Hospital, Mount Abu, Rajasthan. Closely connected with the Brahma Kumaris World Spiritual University in Mount Abu, who without hesitation accepted our invitations. Many things he highlighted about the COVID-19. Perhaps we should think about giving the Best Teachers Award to COVID-19 then. That's what he highlighted. Okay. Many things he touched on the scenario where the medical profession, the frontliners and others are working, and what they need to be addressed to, so that they also have their coping mechanism. He is on the job, so he's able to tell many things, and that is much appreciated. You have a bright future, sir. At a young age, you surrendered yourself for godly service, and we really appreciate your presence here, all the way from India. Our lively moderator tonight, Dr. Saravanan Krishnan, a government servant who is actually heading the cardiology unit in the hospital Sultanah Bahia, Alasta, Kedah, my own state actually. I'm from Kedah. Despite the tight schedule, and I know the cases of COVID are increasing, but despite that, you're able to allocate time to come for this program. That is very, very much appreciated, Doctor. Thank you very much for that. And our host tonight, Kiruba Nandan Muthusamy, pharmacist by profession, and you did a great job by being the host tonight, Brother Kiruba. Thank you for that also. Brothers and sisters, I'm sure you all agree that COVID-19 has made a shift from the otherwise physical platform, which we all are used to, now to visual platform, which we are in now, and discussing some of the relevant and pertinent needs of the time under the title which is being shared, Go Make a Difference in the New Millennium. The world is going through uncertainty, and we have three objectives for this program. Anxiety is the main thing, fatigues, burnout, and at times feeling hopelessness. We came here actually to explore and to peep into a new norm, which is already happening, and how to make a difference. And this includes, as many of you highlighted, the coping mechanisms, positive attitude, being optimistic in life, a vision for a better world, and enhancing inner strength and empowering ourselves. It definitely demands resilience and adaptability, and make the necessary changes to thrive in this millennium. I'm sure tonight the speakers have shed some light in these matters. The journey is, of course, far from over, and we have taken the necessary step in the right directions. Now, having said that, we couldn't possibly go home without mentioning the tremendous effort of all those who are working behind the scene. Our thanks must also go to the committee who have worked so tirelessly to make it all a success, and especially teacher Sundari, a registered counselor herself and a student of the Brahma Kumaris Malaysia. Together with the help of Sister Helen from Penang, they have made this program a success. Many thanks to other Brahma Kumaris centers nationwide also who combined and provided their finger of cooperations in this task. This has been the spirit behind the Brahma Kumaris all the way through. And our mentor for this event, Professor Dato Dr. G.P. Doraisamy, who has been closely and patiently attending to all our meetings, giving his valuable input at every level in planning for this program. We appreciate your help, sir. For tonight, the technical teams are working quietly to make sure everything functions as planned. These are the computer savvy group. There's a big group behind that, and those people are from various parts of Malaysia actually, from north, south, even from East Malaysia. So these are the computer savvy group, and the world is theirs now. This program is in English, but there are also translations in Tamil and also in Mandarin. And for the translator in Tamil, Nandri, and for the translator in Mandarin, Sese, for your efforts. For any program, any outreach is needed, which means reaching to the participants, the Rakyat out there, who we are hoping that they would be able to take benefit from this program. The idea is to see that we reach out to the wider spectrum, not to confine to medical field only, because the public needs such input, such seminars. This group, which works on the outreach, are basically young people, youth, and also university students. Again, these are the computer savvy group, and we know that social media has been used very much nowadays, and they are the people nowadays doing the outreach for this program, and we appreciate their valuable times. At a very young age, they get involved in this sort of activities. Definitely is going to help them along the way. Now, coming to the audience, thank you for joining us tonight. Your presence is much appreciated. This program is to reach out to the community, and I think we reached these expectations. Thank you very much. Brothers and sisters, it has been a fantastic time together, and great knowledge sharing has taken place here, including the personal reflections from Dr. Sachin. For an event of this kind on a visual platform, there's pretty good effort, so well done by everyone. We have achieved so much in a short session. We have gained a lot ourselves too, and going back, much a better person compared to earlier when we locked into the system to listen to this program. I would like to close this program by saying, in the words of the divine teachings, it goes like this: although there may be differences in natures and ideas, but there mustn't be a difference in your love. For love makes difficulties easy. Thank you. In remembrance of the Divine, the Almighty, and also the frontliners who are ensuring our safety, take care and stay safe. Om Shanti.
Thank you so much, Brother Peru. As just now I mentioned his name, Mr. Perumalu, but I will call him dearly as Brother Peru. Thank you so much. Now we have come to a very important session, even though closing has done. The E-Cert, we would like to present E-Cert to all the esteemed speakers, the moderator of this program. So we're going to flash the E-Cert on the screen, and I'll mention their name accordingly. So we're going to have now the E-Cert presentation. So we'll start with the esteemed speakers first. Dato Dr. Florance, Sinniah, Dr. Lai Fong, Dr. B. Sashin, Suksohale, Dr. Saravanan, Krishnan, Moderator. Okay, thank you so much to all of them for sharing such powerful insights. But before we conclude our session, there's a couple of announcements. But I just want to make it clear to all of those who have participated in this, the audience, your life is so precious. And that's what the esteemed speakers have said. And for this reason, we have had this session actually. It is to celebrate the preciousness of each and everyone's life. If this program has succeeded, if for anyone, it could be in establishing the fact that the life of each one who is involved in this program is very precious, and there are so many have already given their contribution to establish that preciousness. People have lost life not as a loss, but to remind us that life is very, very precious. And I would like to make a few announcements. We would like to be connected to you as the audience. We are having another program tomorrow. We're going to have a video flashed out for that. If you are free, we would like to welcome you. It is a pleasure to have you. So we would like to extend the pleasure further by having you tomorrow as well. Try to make it as well. We're going to have that flashed out in a short while. A program for tomorrow. I think maybe they are getting ready for that. But anyway, before they have ready with that, I would like to also make another announcement. All the speakers have mentioned during their speech of the importance of meditation. Yeah. So meditation is very, very important as one of the coping mechanism. And so to learn meditation, we are providing meditation courses. This is actually a very systematically organized program to guide you in a step-by-step manner so that you clearly understand the dynamics and the wisdom of meditation. So at the description of the YouTube, there is the mention, of the link, or there is a link for you to click, and it will take you to that particular kind of registration for you to participate. And from that registration, we'll know your need, and accordingly we will address. So that's call it registrations for meditation, and just click and fill in your form. And once you have fill in your particulars, we should be able to get back to you according to your convenience and your needs. So are we going to have that video now? Let's see. Okay, the program is not over yet. There's one more announcement, and that is words of wisdom. So for each and every participant, we have words of wisdom. Now, these words of wisdom definitely will help you to understand some deep, insightful message about yourself. That's what we have personally experienced most of the time when we get connected through these words of wisdom. So we're going to have the link at the description as well. Yeah, just now I mentioned there's a description for the basic meditation course, but this description also is included there. It is also part of the description. So go to that and that particular link and click it. It's going to be a very rewarding experience. A short period of time of yours will be taken, and you will be taken to a message that's going to be extremely delightful. So take this benefit, take this amenity, and definitely you will enjoy. Yeah. Okay. So we have come to the end of our session, and I would like to end with the most important phrase that's been coined up recently, which actually advocate the social health of humanity, and that is kita jaga kita. Thank you, and Om Shanti.
Pieces of the brokenness inside. I am light. 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 I am mistakes that I have made, or any of the things that caused me pain. I am not the pieces of the dream I left behind. I am light. I am light. I am light. I am light. I am not the skin on the outside. I am not my age. I am not my race. My soul inside is all light. Oh, light. Oh, light. Yeah. Oh, light.